Okay, this is a quick video, or a video that I've put together just demonstrating upgrading the previous virtual machine that I used to install Drupal and speed it up. So what I'm going to do with this one is now convert it from Apache with mod PHP to Apache instead running with PHP-FPM. Okay, so basically the first thing, if you want to do this yourself, the first thing to do is to go to my website, and then if you click on applications used, and then go for the then basically you select the article called Using Less Memory with Drupal 7 or Centos 6, powered by Apache 2 for Event and PHP-FPM. And so basically, what you'd be starting from is a virtual machine in the same state that I had it before. Okay, so just waiting for it to boot up now. Okay, so now we're in, and the first thing we do is we just need to make some changes to disable IPv6 just in case it gets in the way. And in the previous setup, the one thing I forgot to do was to enable memcache on boot up. So if you follow that one along, then you'd end up after a reboot that the website wouldn't work. Okay, so give it a quick reboot. Okay, so now that's back up, what we'll do is to quickly give it a test run with Apache Bench just to see how it's performing. And also it's best also to make sure the site is actually up as well. Okay, so yes, the site's still working after a reboot, so we'll just do a quick test run to see how it's performing. Okay, that took 23 seconds. So usually it's best to give it one more run, just to be, because the first one usually will warm it up. Yeah, see now that's 17 seconds. And what I'll do is I'll do one more run just to show you how much, how many processes actually get used. Okay, so basically that's the performance from the original, basically using mod PHP. So what we're now going to do is just go through the process of updating it to PHP-FPM, basically. Okay, so first I'm going to install the SEL repository. Okay, and once that's in, basically now I'm going to install everything required by to make sure that Drupal runs with the new PHP-FPM. Of course, installing Apache 2.4 as well. Yeah, this just takes a while because of the SELinux bit having to, I think it's got to relabel something. Okay. So now we have to edit the new Apache in order to give it the C group settings to limit its CPU usage. And then also do the same thing for the PHP-FPM as well. And what this basically does, it just adds a C group exec command so that the C group settings will be applied to both processes. So now just edit the Apache configuration to add the socket for the PHP-FPM. And also in case you want to check the status, so just add that in. Okay, now just adding some entries to the Apache's main configuration. Okay, and now we just add. You have to make a change here so that Drupal will actually work. So this h-axis file will work. And also to make sure that the index.php file works as well. Okay, so next we stop the old Apache service. And then just so we don't get that message when we start up Apache, okay, so now we start up the new Apache service. And also you have to configure the PHP-FPM so that it can actually or Apache can attach to it to send it the PHP requests. And because we're running Apache greater than 249 or 10, I'm not sure which one, you can actually listen on the socket rather than having to listen on TCP/IP. Then we just have to change the user for the socket so that Apache has permission to access it. So now we create the directory for the socket and just change its ownership. So now we start the PHP-FPM service and everything seems to be okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, so now oh yeah, one thing I forgot, I have to actually copy the site over to its new location. Okay, so copied the site over, and it doesn't make any difference here because we now have to just add Drupal to the end of it, and there we get our error. And basically what's happened, just to show you what the problem is rather than just fixing it without you having a clue what's happening. Basically, if we go into the logs and into audit, you can actually see at the bottom, you can see where it says, the last line says, yeah, it's the HTTPD, and then it's basically saying it can't, it's denied, and you see where it says ABC denied for the www.socket. So basically SELinux is blocking access to it. Now of course what a lot of people will do is they'll just disable it because it's easier, but then of course it makes it easier for someone to crack into your server. So what we'll do is we'll actually fix it the proper way, like how you're supposed to, so that you can keep the security of your server. So if there's a program that you get with CentOS called Audit to Allow, which you can use to see about the errors that are reported or the downs, and it will actually explain to you. So as you can see here, like in the log, and it's even trying to tell you how to fix the problem while still keeping your security. And so that's what we're going to do. So what I've done is I've created a policy, and then you load the policy. And then we just give it a restart just to be sure. And if we go back and refresh, still there's a problem. So basically there's more going on. So this is the best way to do it, and that is basically to just keep going using the audit to allow program basically until you fix the problem. Because if you do it this way, then you're only allowing what is specifically or you're only allowing a denial which is specific to what you're trying to install. And of course you're going to do this when you're not in production. This is when you have it on your local machine. And so what you can do is you can go through all of your programs that you install, make sure that they work, and you add any exceptions that you need to. And then when you put your server into production, you'll then still have the security for all the rest of the system intact. Okay, so just making a policy package for this, because basically what it did is this actually grabbed all of the denials relating to this particular type of process and put it into a policy package. And so then once this policy package is loaded, all the denials that came from this particular process, the HTTP will now be allowed, and only from this process. And so now if we go to and then refresh, and the site's back. So there you go. So we still get to keep the security, but we've also managed to fix the site as well. So that is the real way that you're supposed to handle your security, and not just to disable it. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a quick test to see what difference that makes. And also I'm just going to run top just so we can see. Right, and you can see how they're not using much CPU because of the C groups is limiting, and this is for like all of the processes as well. So what this basically means is that Apache just can't take your server down. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it will slow down the requests coming in, but your server is guaranteed to be up regardless of how it gets attacked. And the other thing, just checking the memory. So at the moment used is, see, it looks like we've got just over a gig used. So if we run this, okay, well, memory hasn't gone up that much. So it's about 1.1 gigabytes. And the reason why it's slower is just really because of the C groups limitations. So now the PHP processes get included in the 10%. So of course the speed will be slightly lower when now that we're running it with PHP-FPM. So the next thing to do is, at the moment it's configured still as the Prefork MPM for Apache. So what we do now is just change it. So at the moment it's on Prefork. So if we comment Prefork out, and then we'll try it on the worker, see what difference that makes. to restart Apache just to, so the configuration is red. So if we try for Prefork, it's 22.5 seconds roughly. Okay, memory use doesn't seem. But one thing you notice with the worker now, there's a lot less Apache processes running. And okay, even seems slightly slower, but let's just try once more. And you see now, because Apache is now threaded, there aren't that many Apache processes actually running. Okay, so seems like it's actually slightly slower, but there you go. So that could be just because of the C group, because I've limited the limited it. And so then finally, you're just going to try it with event. Just restart it, and let's see what this does. And actually notice there's hardly any Apache processes, but because they're threaded. Oh. Okay, well, seems like the conclusion there is that with that Prefork is still the fastest, but maybe that is just because it does tend to use more memory. But well, anyway, the main reason for this demonstration is just showing how PHP-FPM can be installed with Apache. And I suppose the best thing about it is the fact that when you're trying to serve a lot of so like images and CSS files, it'll make a lot more difference. So probably I'd just need a different kind of website to test it on to really see the real difference. But this was just really showing how sort of straightforward it is to actually install, and even to limit the sort of the amount of CPU that it takes as well. Okay, thanks for watching. See you.